Hi guys, how are you all today morning? Good morning. Today is 17th March, 17th July 2023. My name is TSV Raghavan and I live in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India. This is my spiritual vlog on YouTube. Haribol TRSV Nectar NECTAR Nectar. In this particular video or vlog in which this video is, we have been discussing about the knowledge and information that we have gleaned through the study of spiritual books, scriptures, contemplation on the material universe, and meditation on the spiritual universe. This particular video in the vlog is no exception to that rule. In fact, it is a mere continuation of what we have been doing in all my previous videos. Kindly subscribe to this vlog and press the bell icon so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous videos and future videos. So let us continue with the topic for today. We have been discussing about the psyche of a human living entity and how it works. We have also discussed in detail about the various factors that play a role in creating a particular psyche for a particular human living entity. These factors are his or her prarabdha karma, his or her preference for the vibrations of his or her etheric senses, astral mind, and causal intelligence, and a lot of role from his or her false ego. These three are the major contributors to the psyche of a human living entity. There may be other factors, but these three play a perennial role in that person's living psyche of that living entity in a particular birth. This we should remember very well before proceeding further. Yesterday we talked about the psyche of one person who was born with a golden spoon in his mouth, but who died a miserable death because of probably the following factors. This guy's prarabdha karma wanted him to only use vibrations from his etheric senses. That is, this guy was a very handsome, successful or rich, laid back, well built, physically oriented bodybuilder of a young man of 32. For 32 years, this guy had lived a charmed life as a scion, a handsome fellow, and a solid bodybuilder. All these directly or indirectly suggest the vibrations of his etheric senses. Probably when he was doing his bodybuilding, he did not listen to his astral mind or his causal intelligence also, because probably he did not know then that these two do exist in his subtle bodies. We all know that the material world envelops the spirit soul with four layers of material body. The first layer is called causal intelligence of logic. The second is called astral mind of feelings and emotions. And the third is called etheric senses. The psyche of a person largely depends on which subtle body and its vibration that particular living entity's brain gives preference to while reacting in this material world. Because this guy was born in a very successful family of businessmen, he had a luxurious, laid back life, and so he did not have to use the vibrations from his astral mind of feelings and emotions or logical mind of intelligence and logic. The causal body of intelligence and logic. That was the result, that was the cause for the pathetic result that climaxed at the end of this guy's life. What probably happened was that being a scion of a wealthy business house and having lived the charmed life of a frog in a pond, this guy probably concentrated only on his etheric senses when he was developing his very handsome and beautiful body. Nothing else mattered to him during that period. But when his wife passed a caustic comment on him when this guy was 32, this guy's sudden entry into the layer of astral mind and of feelings and emotions happened. This guy got a very terrible jerk in his psyche. From etheric senses, he had to go towards astral mind of feelings and emotions. This entry into the second layer caused such a large amount of friction in his psyche that this guy got visibly irritated and committed suicide. Probably this guy realized that there was a second layer also in his complete living entity's existence of four layers. Till now, he had been listening only to his etheric senses, but this caustic and tartly comment from his wife gave him an opportunity which was unwelcome to peep into his own astral mind of feelings and emotions. This was so sudden and created such a friction that this guy could not handle it and could not balance his mind or his brain. That was the result when vibrations from his astral mind struck his brain. He lost all consciousness and committed that pathetic suicide. Anyway, we should take a lesson from this particular case history that was discussed in detail in my previous video to realize that we should always consciously try to listen either to our astral mind or to our causal intelligence to come into the 25% bracket of society and thus live a good and positive life in a lifetime. Anyway, today we shall discuss about another case history which will authenticate the fact that the psyche depends on various factors in the life of a living entity. There is a township called Kishoreganj in what was known before as East Bengal in India. This East Bengal is now a part of a separate country called Bangladesh. However, at that time which I am talking about, Kishoreganj was a part of India. In this Kishoreganj, there lived a family with a surname Chaudhary. The patriarch of this family was one person who owned and operated a cycle repair shop. This Chaudhary got a son who was born on 23rd November 1899. That is, all this happened before the 20th century. This boy was christened Nirad and his complete name was Nirad C. Chaudhary. His family to which he was born was quite humble and middle class with nothing special to boast about. This Nirad C. Chaudhary had a lot of brothers and sisters who were as normal as he himself was during his childhood. However, while those people went about their lives, the life of this particular guy was charmed and strange. How strange you will know now. For some reason, this guy's prarabdha karma wanted him to gather and devour knowledge of every type in this world. This guy slowly but steadily became such a voracious reader that he used to take loans to buy books from India and abroad. So much so that this guy became extremely erudite, knowledgeable, and an expert in various fields of knowledge, especially the British Constitution. He could read and speak the following languages fluently. They were Bengali, which was his mother tongue, plus Hindi, which is the national language of India, plus English, which was prevalent in India even during that time, plus French, which is also very important in the world, and plus Hebrew, which is the language of Israel. Probably this guy also knew other languages, but I am not aware of that. This guy had such a very sharp intellect and cerebral faculty stored into his tiny brain that whenever he spoke or wrote, he used to use several languages in his writings, presuming that the reader will understand those languages. This guy stood barely 5 foot in height, but his small head was all knowledge and intellect. This guy's family was middle class, and but the family had a good education, and all the brothers got good education and schooling in Kishorganj and another area called Maiman Singh. Plus, this guy probably graduated from the capital of Bengal even during those times. That particular capital was known then as Calcutta and now it is famous as Kolkata. Because of this guy's extremely razor sharp intelligence and his knowledge plus experience and understanding, this guy was chosen by the All India Radio for broadcasting news about the colonial India plus the European theater. This guy was so perfect in his mind that he became an official broadcaster of the radio department for Britain and for the colonialists during the Second World War. His expert comments and forecasts during that period took even the colonialists by surprise. This guy was an Anglophile right from his top to his bottom. The only ambition that this guy himself accepted that he had was to buy a bowler hat. A bowler hat is one hat which is used in Britain by Englishmen at least during those days. This guy retired as a broadcaster in the All India Radio and then he relocated to England. This guy wrote some very informative and educational books called Autobiography of an Unknown Indian, The Continent of Sis, and Fashion in Vanity Bag. His books are full of extraordinary knowledge on various social subjects. Not only that, the vocabulary contains words from several languages like English, French, and Hebrew. Anyway, this guy relocated to England as a respectable Bengali gentleman and settled down in England. Here he gave expert comments on the British Constitution and British politics to people in Britain and made them wonder how this was possible that a commoner from India could be so well informed about the Constitution and the European theatre during the Second World War. They liked him, admired him, and envied him. However, they had to grudgingly accept that whenever they had a lot of trouble in their day to day political life, they often used to consult this man, especially the elders from the House of Lords and Commons, who came to him, accepted his scholarship, and consulted him on complicated political matters. This guy spoke with such authority that even the Britishers were scared to contradict him because whenever he said something and these guys tried to doubt it, this guy would climb up the rungs of a ladder on his own library and bring out some book in which some page suggested that what this man said about the British Constitution was actually right. This made the Britishers surprised at the erudition of this man who lived up to the age of 101 to 103 and died peacefully in England, much celebrated in the intellectual field and the political field by all people the world around. England, Europe, and America acknowledged his extraordinary knowledge. Now, to talk about his karma. Nirad Chaudhary brought a slice of his prarabdha karma to live in this world. When he was born, his prarabdha karma got activated. This birth was in a middle class, gentle, decent Indian Bengali family where everything was quite normal to say the least. Probably his prarabdha karma introduced him to his intellectual and scholarly pursuits, as a result of which he became a voracious reader and a bookworm. It was his prarabdha karma which got him a job in the All India Radio. But after that, somewhere down the line, his Kriyamana karma took over. Here we will take a detour. Till now, he was probably listening to the vibrations of his astral mind and a bit of his causal intelligence also, because causal intelligence is logic and logic wants knowledge and cerebral creativity. It was this which made him so such a glutton for, for knowledge, and his appetite for books and erudition was insatiable to say the least. This guy was extremely interested in gathering as much knowledge as possible in his chosen field, probably because of his causal intelligence. However, though his prarabdha karma may have introduced him to his causal intelligence, but this guy progressed further and further, so much so that probably he started listening only to his causal intelligence as he grew older. That was the reason why he became so erudite and so scholarly and knowledgeable on these subjects. It is not usually possible for a middle class normal boy to become such an expert in some very alien subject and to speak so many languages so fluently when they were mostly foreign. As I had mentioned before, 75% of the society listens only to the vibrations of the etheric senses all its life. Only 25% choose to be different. Even among these 25%, 20% also listen to the vibrations of their astral body of mind, feelings, and emotions. We all know that such people are quite intelligent and creative, but alas, they still don't have a very important quality which is called logic and which encourages surgical precision in the thoughts and ideas and views of that particular person's cerebral faculties. Such people are called intellectuals. Nirad Chaudhary was an intellectual. He was an intellectual to the core. He seldom listened to his vibrations from his etheric senses and probably seldom listened to the vibrations of his astral mind because he was beyond these two layers of material body that had enveloped his soul. He was all logic and intelligence. That was the result for his such extraordinary cerebral achievements. We all must remember that we should take pains to progress further and further from this material world and go towards the soul. In that process, when we go further, first we cross the etheric senses, then after remaining in the astral mind for some time, we cross over to the causal body of intelligence and logic. From there, it is but a step to the super soul which we originally were. Till then, we are still materially imprisoned in the cocoon of a material body. Anyway, Nirad Chaudhary reached that bracket of 5% who are all logic but who are still materialistic in their approach towards life. However, this was nothing. It was only a matter of time when this particular living entity crossed over from this endless cycle of birth and death and reached its original position as the spirit soul. This is one aim and bullseye that everyone among us should aim for. The farther we are from this material confusion of senses, emotions, and feelings, the better. We must come to the level of logical senses, remain there for some time, and then cast away this body once for all and avoid these repeated births and deaths. Once we do that, we get liberated and then we can proceed towards the final deliverance to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is all for today's talk on a particular case history. Kindly let me know what you think of my talk on this particular case history and matter. Please give me your own expert opinions, thoughts, and ideas so that I may keep reminding you of all my previous videos and blending yours with mine for the sake of this society. Before concluding, let me remind you that I am also a published author with Amazon Kindle and paperback. I write on spiritualism, fiction, and assorted subjects. Spiritualism happens to be my favorite subject. Till we meet in my next video, it is good morning from TSV Raghavan.